Hey guys, welcome to the next Healthy Living Obsession recipe. This time I'm doing a variation, again trying to adapt some things that I know and love, of one of my favorite recipes, Olive Garden's Zuppa Toscana soup. Now, for those of you that are watching kind of my cross channels, I did this recently on my Guy stuff, and it was, exactly what you get in the restaurant. Absolutely delicious, beautiful flavors, but not healthy. That has three things in it that really aren't good for you. Pork, number one, all the sausage. Bacon, obviously more pork, but very salty. And a lot of heavy cream. So, really good stuff, but I'm not cooking with that anymore, at least not regularly. Special occasions, maybe, we'll see. But I want to see how this comes out, because by changing those three things, this becomes an extremely healthy soup, as long as you don't go crazy with your portions. To solve the sausage problem, very easy. I'm using turkey sweet Italian sausage. Pain in the butt to find. I had to go to 4 stores, but finally found it at Walmart of all places. Anyway, I've been using this stuff in various recipes now. Tastes exactly like regular Italian sausage. Do not hesitate to use turkey sausage for anything. I've tried their breakfast sausage, their regular links. They've got this great Italian sausage. Absolutely spot on for regular Italian sausage. You would not know it's not pork. You just have to be careful cooking with it. It's very soft and squishy, but we're going to cut it into chunks. And other than that, it's beautiful. No qualms about using that. I'm replacing the heavy cream, now this is the questionable part, with fat-free half and half, which is basically thickened skim milk at that point. It's questionable because the heavy cream really not only lends that little bit of a thickness texture to the soup, but a lot of the flavor, that creamy, almost chowder-like flavor that you get in the Zuppa Toscana. So we're going to see how it goes. It's worth a shot. This whole thing cost me under 30 bucks, so I really can't complain. If it sucks, who cares, 30 bucks. I don't think it's going to suck, though. I think it's going to be really good. We'll see how close it'll be. I know it's not going to be a match, but I want to see how close it'll be. And the bacon in the soup is just for a little bit of flavor kick. It's not a big part of it, and you only use a few tablespoons in the whole batch. So I just eliminate it. It's not worth doing turkey bacon or anything like that. Turkey bacon, I don't find to be anywhere near real pork bacon. Sausage, yes. Bacon, no. So I'm just eliminating the bacon. I don't think I'm going to miss it whatsoever, because 99% of the flavor in this is from the sausage and the hot red peppers. And that reminds me, I need my hot red peppers. Where did they go? Here they are. Crushed red pepper. Beautiful. Love this stuff. Can't get enough. But that's most of your flavor right there, is these two guys right here. Russet potatoes, we're going to use 6 of those, and those are just for a really nice hearty substance. We're going to use a bunch of garlic. Not too much salt and pepper. I like to do it in the bowl, but we'll do a little bit here in the pot. 3 onions. You can use sweet or white, doesn't matter. Stay away from the red for this one. A little too harsh. And then we have 48 ounces, 1 big bottle of fat-free reduced sodium chicken broth. Then we have 1 whole bundle of kale. We're just going to rinse off and use the leafy parts, and we're going to we're going to tear them into large chunks. We're going to use the whole thing. Other than that, there's just some water that's going to go in, and we're going to make about a 2-gallon batch. So that should take care of it. Replacing the sausage, eliminating the bacon, and eliminating the heavy cream for the fat-free half and half. So that's it. Let's get going. It's got a lot of prep work to this, a lot of time. You have to take all the kale off. The potatoes, you'll see it when it's done, but I'm going to do them in thick quarters. That's what you want for this kind of soup. And then the onion, a fine chop. My garlic's already minced. I love these jars of it. Absolutely beautiful flavor, so saving a little time there. And the sausage, we have to slice up into fairly thin slices, but you can't go too thin on the turkey because, like I said, it's really squishy. You must have an absolutely razor-sharp knife, so don't try it if your knives are dull. You're just going to butcher the heck out of the sausage link. Alright, time to get prepping. It's going to take me about a half an hour. Well, it did take me over half an hour. I've got the onions chopped up. I've got the potatoes quartered. Really easy to do those. I like the skin on them. You can take them off if you really don't care for it, but you don't taste the skins much in this, and it does have nutrition. So I always leave the skins on mine. You just cut the potato. I first cut off the very ends. Cut the potato in half, lay it down flat side down, cut them lengthwise again, and then just give it a nice thick chop. You end up with these nice little bite-sized chunks here that stay together in the soup. That's important. You don't want them to turn to mush, and they're the perfect size for a spoon. Got the sausage chopped up as narrowly as I can. Like I said, it's really soft, so you only get about a 1/4 inch before it just starts spooging out. It doesn't have a natural pork casing, so there's not a lot to hold it together. But you just want it small enough where it's bite-sized, large enough where it's not going to turn into just a bunch of ground turkey. I've got the kale all separated, and this is about 3/4 of it. I've got a bunch more I couldn't fit in the bowl. Nice big chunks. You know, you can break it up to about that, but you don't want to chop it up or break all the little bits and pieces off. The veggies are going to cook way down. This looks like a lot, but these are mostly water. These are mostly water, and they get real pliable once they soak up in the soup. So they're going to virtually disappear. Most of this is going to be the water, the broth, potatoes, and the sausage. So the first thing we have to do is start browning our turkey. And we're going to put a little bit of oil in the pan. Get this heated up on a medium-high. The turkey browns pretty quickly. It's a very lean meat, hence its healthy value, not a lot of fat. So it does cook pretty quickly. You want to make sure that it doesn't start to brown and stick and smoke and all that. As soon as we get it browned, we're going to dump in our onions. Alright, let's start. Getting a real nice even browning here. All the moisture, the excess water is coming out of the turkey. What you want to do is cook it down until basically this water is gone. If you want to, at this point, take it over the sink and start to drain it, that's fine too, if you want to hurry it up. Otherwise, just wait. After a few minutes, this will be gone, and then it's ready for the onions. I'm going to take it over to the sink and get this going because I'm hungry. No point waiting if you don't have to. So now what we're left with is basically a bunch of turkey balls. That's what we want. Now we can put in the onions. And these are going to reduce way down. And you want them to kind of disappear in the soup. That's why you want to fine chop. You're not looking for huge chunks of onions. And the reason we don't put the onions in at the same time as the sausage is because the sausage is so fragile, you just beat it to heck. So now we just basically stir in and saute these onions until they reduce down. Same thing's going to happen, all the water is going to come out. And you just want them nice and translucent and squishy. Then we'll be ready for the next step. This size pot, these onions should probably take about 10 minutes until we get to that point. And again, like all my recipes, you can easily scale this down. If you don't want to cook a big pot at once, cut this in half and you've still got a great family-sized portion. I'm doing it just for me. This is my main meal for a week, so I'm doing a big 2-gallon pot. Like I said in my other videos, I've been alternating my meals between a good sandwich and whatever stuff I make like this, and that's heaven for me. I mean, I love eating the same thing as long as it's good. No problem whatsoever. If you're not like that, you're not going to be making these huge pots, so just scale it back accordingly. Got a real nice consistency going on the onions. They're very translucent, soft. Now we're ready for the next part. We're going to put in most of our liquids, I'm going to put in this whole container of the fat-free, low-sodium chicken broth. And then we're also going to add some water. I'm going to put in about a half a gallon. I need to save room for everything else, and at the very end I'll top it off, if there's still room, with water. But we've still got the quart of half and half going in, the potatoes, and the kale. Kale isn't going to take up much, but it's going to take up something. So there's our chicken broth. What I'm going to do is just fill this up twice and put in water. So these are containers of hot water, and that should give us enough liquid for the next stage, which is cooking the potatoes. And I also want to put in my garlic at this point. You can do it sooner, you could do it as you're doing the onions, but I find that it can burn a little too easy when you're doing a big batch like that, leaving the onions sit for 10-15 minutes and cooking. By doing it here, because it's still going to sit here and stew for about 45 minutes. So I'm going to put in, I love garlic, and this is a big pot, so I'm going to put in a good 6 or 8 cloves worth. Do it to taste, completely optional. There we go. Now I do recommend a little bit of salt at this point. Not a lot to make it unhealthy or anything, but we need some for the potatoes. And I'm just going to put in just a couple teaspoons worth. The rest, do it to taste in the bowls. Okay, that's all we need there. Mix up the garlic a little bit. Now we can put in the potatoes, and we're going to bring this to a boil. And we want to cook these potatoes for a good half hour. Once it comes to a boil, I'm going to take the heat down to a medium-high and let these cook till they're nice and soft. You want them completely soft and squishy because these are going to be bite-size. This soup is eaten with a spoon, not a knife. Try not to splash myself here. Looks like we'll be pretty close on room. Real close. We just have this to put in. The kale will squish way down, so we should be just about right. I'm pretty good at measuring things because I know my pots and I know how much leeway I have. Now you just want to stir this around a little bit, break up any big chunks of potatoes, but for the most part we're just going to leave this here for 10 minutes and it should come up to a boil. Then we're just going to turn the heat down a little bit so nothing starts burning on the bottom, and we're going to let that go for a while. I almost forgot the rest of the seasoning. I'm going to put about a quarter cup of crushed red pepper. Obviously this is kind of to taste too, but it is an integral part of the soup. You do want some cayenne spice in there. So even if you're not a spice head like me, you're going to want a pretty good amount. It's not a fire-breathing soup by any means, but it does have that really nice little bite. It goes really well with the sausage and especially the kale. It's a counterpoint to the normally creamy flavor, but we'll see what this fat-free half and half brings. So that's really all you want to put in there. You can see it's not that much, and crushed red pepper isn't super hot. It's not like a chipotle or fresh cayennes or anything like that, but it's got a really nice sweet heat to it. And we're going to put in some pepper. And again, this is to taste. Now that we have a nice little boil going, I'm just going to turn down the heat a little bit. You want it to continue boiling, you just don't want a big rolling boil for all this time. And we're going to let that go. Cook these potatoes, cook the garlic, cook the onions and the meat fully for another 30 minutes. Half an hour in. Oh man, this kitchen smells good. Alright, potatoes are nice and soft. Make sure you test them. But after half an hour of boiling, doesn't matter how thick you've cut them, they are done. And they've broken up a little bit just from the gentle stirring that I've done. Only takes a few times. Now what we're going to do is put in our quart of the fat-free half and half. And as you can see, we do have just enough room left in the pot. So I measured that perfectly. And then just stir this a little bit to mix it up. I'm really hoping this gives enough cream flavor to make it like the real deal. And then in goes our kale. Dump this in gently. And this doesn't have to really cook. Turn your heat down to its lowest setting. At this point we're just going to simmer. Bring all the flavors together. The cream's going to come up to temp. Kale's going to come up to temp. It's going to get real soft. Soak up some of the flavors in here. That's most of it. I do have some left here on my cutting board. You can see the kale really doesn't do much. It's mostly air. Lots of fine little leaves. Alright, I got the rest of it here. In you go. Alright, beautiful. Now the rest of it's real easy. Got the heat down way on low. Everything just has to come up to temp. And we want it to sit here and simmer for about 15 minutes. Just let everything get nice and delicious. Get some of those pepper oils soaked into everything. By that time this kale will be completely tenderized, ready to eat. It looks beautiful, doesn't it? May not be any cream in that half and half, but it's got a nice cream color at least. Turned the soup the right color. Alright, that looks good. Just get everything in there. Let it go and we'll be back in another 15 and be ready to eat. 30 minutes of a simmer is done and we are ready to plate up and eat. Can't come soon enough. I have not had dinner yet today. Got the itch to do this about 8 o'clock, ran to the store, had to go to 3 different stores to get all the ingredients because finding this healthy stuff isn't exactly easy. But I got it done, and of course all the prep time, cook time, and video time takes a lot of time, so it's 11 o'clock. I know it's against my healthy eating rules here, but I am starving. So let's get some of this in here. I'm really anxious to see how it tastes compared to the real deal. I should say the less healthy deal. I love everything in here. Get some more sausage. There we go. It's all hiding underneath a little bit. There we go. Beautiful. Alright. Moment of truth. I'm just going to taste a little bit of this soup because I know the rest tastes good. Not bad. Really nice blend of spices in there. I would say it's a good 90%. It is missing that little bit of thickness and pure cream flavor that the original has. But you can taste the sausage. I know what the sausage tastes like. It's awesome. Potatoes are perfect. The spices are really key to this. Alright. Well, I'm happy. I was afraid I wasn't going to really taste any of the creaminess, but it's there. It's just not as intense and thick as using the heavy cream. So, hey, I'm good to go. There you guys go. There is my healthy version of Zuppa Toscana soup. See you guys next time. Enjoy.